Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Manitoba Start is the leading provider of career services to newcomers in the province of Manitoba and connects businesses to a world-class workforce. I would like to welcome you all to this Spotlight webinar, a series of live broadcasted events designed to assist you in entering the Manitoba labor market. Manitoba Start acknowledges that we are gathered on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Dakota Oyede, Denisoline, and Nihilewuk nations, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. We acknowledge that our water is sourced from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. As a newcomer organization, we commit to learning about the histories, cultures, and rights of the Indigenous communities to strive to build a respectful and supportive relationship for all. Today's webinar is focusing on the Windmill Microlending. My name is Vasil. I'm an outreach coordinator here at Manitoba Start, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Before we begin, I would like to run through some housekeeping items, and you can use your raise hand button feature to indicate that you have a question or a comment. To do this, you can click on the participants button in the meeting control, find the raise hand icon next to your name and click on it. This will notify us that we have a raised hand. Teams webinar provide a Q&A feature that allows attendees to ask questions specifically in the Q&A panel. To access this, click on the More options, the three dots button in the meeting controls, and select Q&A. You can then type your question in the Q&A panel. Now, before we introduce our presenter for today, I would like to run a few polls to get to know you better. So just give me a moment and you will see the first poll on your screen. There you go. So the first poll asks, are you registered with Manitoba Start? So please click on yes or no, and then click the submit button. I'll give you a moment to look through that. All right, so 100% of people said yes, they are clients of Manitoba Start. Thank you. Now let's move on to the second one. And the second poll says, do you need help with resume, cover letter, or interview preparation? Again, you can click yes or no, and then click submit so we can see the answers. I'll give you one moment to do that. I see some answers are coming in. All right, so as of now, we have 67% said that they require some assistance, while 33% probably are self-sufficient and do not need that. Thank you. And let's go to our third poll for today. Just give me one moment, please. Right, the third poll says, where are you joining us from? So we have a couple more options here. So this is Northern Manitoba, Southern Manitoba, Winnipeg, or outside of Canada. All right, so I see that folks are joining us mostly from Winnipeg, which is great. Welcome to Winnipeg. And the final poll for today asks the following. What is the reason for you to attend this webinar? Are you probably an international educated professional coming to Canada, or maybe you are a settlement worker or a career coach, or maybe you fall under other category? So I'm going to give you a few moments to answer that. I see that 40% are internationally educated professionals and 60% are other, which is great. Thank you so much for participating in the polls. And let's move on to our presentation. So today's webinar is with the Windmill Microlending. At this session, you will learn about how Windmill Microlending offers affordable, flexible, and low-interest loans of up to $15,000 exclusively to Canadian skilled immigrants and refugees. They can help you pay for the credential assessments, licensing, qualification examinations, education, and training you need to restart, continue, or grow your career in the new country. Even relocation and childcare costs could be covered while you study. So please welcome Lydia May from the Windmill Microlending. Over to you, Lydia.
Thank you so much, Vasil, for inviting me and for such a great introduction. Because now, you basically mentioned a lot of great things about us. And but yeah, today I'm gonna be talking about a wonderful organization I work for, but also welcome everybody. I know probably the weather now is nice in Winnipeg. My name is Lydia. As you can tell, I'm an immigrant myself, but I've been in Canada almost 11 years. So, and today I'd like to talk again about Windmill Microlending, but then in the end, I'd love to know your stories as well. So if you're not shy, in the end, we can have the chit chat and you can ask me some questions, even if those questions are not related to my company, and just you're lost, you're confused, I'll be happy to help you because I have two hats. So my main job, I'm a manager of the prairies at Windmill Microlending, but just over 2 months ago, I started my YouTube channel. So I'm a big influencer for newcomers, and actually I have been doing that for many years, just never got a chance to be in some kind of online no presence. But yes, so I'll share my screen, and I was wondering if the chat box is available to you. Maybe you can message which countries you came from, because I'm always curious in people's stories, and also very often it helps me to understand what challenges some people might have. I always joke. So I'm from Russia originally, and I have a lot of friends from Russia, from Ukraine, from Belarus. So basically, the post-USSR community, we are struggling with soft skills. So same, I have friends from Nigeria. Soft skills was not a big deal there. And I always tell that in Canada, soft skills are important. So that's why when I know which country are you coming from, I can advise you as well what actually might help you to get a job in Canada and how you can succeed in your career as well. So I'll share my screen, and while I'm sharing, I'll tell you a little bit of my story. So when I came to Canada, it was 2014, and I was not lucky enough. I didn't get my permanent residence status. I actually was an international student. So I had to pay a lot of money for my, not higher education here, which was great. It was like a college in Calgary, but still, of course, as an international student, and probably some of you, you have to pay a lot of money. So I paid a lot of money, but then it helped me to get my postgraduate work permit, and then it helped me with Alberta provincial nominee, and then I got my PR, and only I think 2 or 3 years ago I got my Canadian passport. So my journey was not just all straight, so it had some bumps. But as I always tell, you might now you're not feeling very positive about your future perspectives in Canada, but I always tell you have to understand that Canada is it's a different country than your home country, and it will never be the same. So it will never be the same. And I always tell immigrants, as soon as you realize that it's a different country, it will never be the same. Then the second step, which you need to do, you need to determine if this country is for you specifically. Because even in my videos, I always tell that Canada is not for everyone. And for you, the more you realize if you want to stay here and if you want to work and play by the new rules of Canada, then it will help you actually to succeed much faster in Canada. And trust me, I'm talking about myself, about my experience. I have lots of friends like who basically went through a lot of challenges, but then they wanted to stay in Canada and they learn how things are working here, and it helped them a lot in their career. The one thing you're doing already, you're here today, I guess you're registered with Manitoba Start, which is great. I always encourage newcomers to register with a settlement agency because like again, like you can get a lot of help for free, right? So if you have some troubles with your resume, you don't understand what soft skills are about, like how to create a LinkedIn profile, but also how to return to your profession. This is a very important settlement agency can help you as well. And you're attending this session today. Again, I know that in Manitoba, you are actually lucky. In Manitoba, you have a lot of great programs. I wouldn't say a lot, but at least I'm familiar with two of them. So one, I think it's the government of Manitoba. They provide not even a loan, like they provide a grant to 28 regulated professions. I believe it's connected to the health care sector, but also there is a great organization which is called Seed Winnipeg, and they have a great program as well, like helping internationally trained professionals to return to their profession. But also you have us, and I always tell we never compete with any organizations. We just work together. So, and for you today, when you hear my presentation, then you will be equipped with the knowledge, and you can decide what steps you need to take in order to achieve career success in Canada. So that was just a short introduction, just like a nice break-in for me to get to know you better, but I guess I'll get more information after I'm done with my presentation. So you know our name already. So we are Windmill Microlending. So, and Vasil, he did a great job in the beginning explaining like what we do. So we provide affordable loans up to 15,000 exclusively to skilled immigrants and refugees, those who seek to achieve their career goals in Canada. And actually, it was so funny. Like before you all joined, Vasil, he asked me, "Are you guys for profit?" And I said no. And that's the thing. Like when I talk about money, right? So automatically, some of the people might think that we are a bank and we are an organization which is a financial one, and we are a for-profit organization. But actually, we are not. We've never been. So Windmill is a 100% not-for-profit organization, and actually, we are a charity. And here you can see that we are funded by the government of Canada, Ontario, Alberta, and Quebec. You don't see my Manitoba here, but it's just for now, because as probably you know already that Manitoba is not so highly populated, right? And so of course we have less loans in Manitoba in comparison with Alberta. But again, when a population is growing, then of course we might have more loans, and we might have like the funding from the government of Manitoba as well. But for now, like we are everywhere in the country. So I'm based in Calgary, but again, for you it doesn't matter because Windmill is in every province, in every northern territory as well. So let's say if tomorrow you want to move to Alberta, I've been to every province in Canada except Newfoundland, and I do believe Alberta is the best. And I've been to Winnipeg as well. It's a beautiful city, but let's say if you decide to move to Calgary, so still like for us, it does not matter if you relocate. Because I know for some organizations, they look at how much time you've spent in the province. So we don't do that. And here you can see that we started in 2005. We started in Calgary, and the story behind it is a very interesting one. So there was a doctor. She was not an immigrant, but I think her parents, they were immigrants, and she worked at the Calgary hospital, and she was so sad to see that a lot of cleaners and janitors back at home, they were doctors and lawyers and nurses, and now in Canada they couldn't return to their profession. So she organized for first 5 loans for those people by gathering powerful people, greater organizations. And since then, Windmill has become a national organization, and we have provided more than 12,000 loans. So how we are different, and since I mentioned already, we are not a financial institution, we are not a bank, we are just different, but we are different in a good way. So first of all, on the left side, that you can see what a bank might ask from you when you want to apply for a loan. On the right side, you can see what we will ask from you, or we won't ask from you. So first of all, we don't require you to have the Canadian credit history, but understand me right. Like, we are gonna check it at anyway. So but if you're brand new to Canada, you just literally landed in Winnipeg less than 1 month ago, and then back at home you were a doctor, and now you're trying to return to your profession. So still you can apply for our loan, and you might be eligible because we don't require our clients to have Canadian credit history. But as I said, if you have one, we will have an access to it, and we are gonna check. Also, we don't ask you to have a stable income or to have a stable job, because we understand that you can live off your savings, you can live off your EI, maybe some government support available to you as well. And of course, we don't require you to have any assets to secure a loan or have a consignor on your application. So how our microloans can be used? So first of all, and probably the most important, they can be used for foreign credential recognition. So what does it mean? Foreign credential recognition means when, let's say, back at home, again, I'll take Nigeria as an example, you were a doctor or a lawyer. When you come here, your credentials are not recognized. So your credentials are not recognized. You cannot work as a doctor or a lawyer straight away. But again, like with some steps, you can return to your profession. And those steps, they might be very pricey. So when you have to pay for a lot of exams, some prep classes, tuition fees, and so on. So, but we can help you with that. The second thing here, it's a career change. So career change works for those who want to change their career. So let's say if tomorrow you want to go to a college, or maybe to take a micro-credential program, or like become a plumber. So it's where we can actually help you. So we can pay for your career change as well. The third thing here is a professional development. So professional development is available to those who are happy with their jobs, but they feel like they need some upgrading. So they want to upgrade their skills, or let's say if somebody is an accountant and they feel like if they get CPA designation, it will help them. So it's where we can help. And of course, the last thing here, it's relocation for employment, as I mentioned before. So like Winnipeg is great, but let's say if one day you have a job offer from a different province and you would like to relocate to that province, so we can help you with that. Like we can pay for your moving expenses, including if you need to move with your family as well. I always tell like Windmill is very similar to like any government student loan. So again, in Manitoba, like in Alberta, you have a student loan, but we are more flexible. I always tell more flexible because we can cover some programs which Manitoba student loan won't cover. Also, Manitoba student loan won't cover your living allowances. Like let's say if the program is too short, or if you're not a full-time student, so there are some restrictions. But with us, if we see that like in order for you to be successful, in order for you to graduate from a program, you need us to help you with your living allowances, like we can do that. So like basically, as I said, for you to keep in mind, we will cover all expenses which are related to your education, but we are more flexible than Manitoba student loan, for example. I know you might be wondering, because you heard me saying that I said a couple of times that we are a microloan program, so you might be wondering about our terms and conditions. And you can see them here. So our loans are from 2,000 to 15,000. So the minimum amount that you can take is $2,000. The maximum amount is $15,000. Also, we have a fixed interest rate of 6.77%. But down below, you can see that the red line that now we also have a special rate for those who are transitioning into the healthcare profession in Canada. So if somebody was working as a nurse, as a doctor, and now they're trying to do the same in Canada, so the interest rate for them is a little bit lower. And actually, it's the same as the Canada prime rate. So the prime rate in Canada, so it's 4.95. For other professions, it's a little bit higher, but the reason behind that healthcare professionals are very needed in Canada. So we need them, and like we wanted to concentrate more on health care professionals and help them to to graduate or to get through their certification process faster. Also, like we don't have any penalties or administrative fees. So if you want to pay your loan earlier, so we are happy for you. We don't ask you to pay a huge penalty on top. For those of you who are new to Canada and you're not familiar how credit works in Canada. So for example, if you have a mortgage, and then like you suddenly won a lottery and then like you want to pay your mortgage off, they will be happy for you, but they will ask you, hey, can you please ask the penalty? And penalty sometimes might be up to 20,000, like 30,000. Of course, it depends on your contract, but the penalties are quite high in Canada, so we don't do that. Also, we don't have any administrative fees at any time. And similar to Manitoba student loan, we have a grace period. Just only in our case, we will ask you to pay the interest only. So while you're at school, like while you're returning to your profession, you will be on a grace period. You will pay the interest only. After that, you will have 3 months to pay a job. Still, like you will be on a grace period. And after that, like we will ask you to pay the principal plus the interest back. And on the right side, like you can see just a simple example. So if you borrow like $10,000 and you at 6.7%, so if, like for the first 15 months, so it includes your program of study of 12 months and 3 months on top while you're looking for a job, you will be paying a little bit more than $55. Then after that, we will ask you to pay like the principal plus the interest back, and it will be a little bit over than 307. So, but still, like we are more just a loan. We provide you a lot of support, because of course we want you to be successful, especially if you took a loan with us. We want you to succeed. So we have a client success coach for you. We have career planning resources. We have financial literacy training, and we have our mentorship program. So our mentorship program works in that way that when you become our client, so you can ask us to find you a mentor who will guide you on the way to your career in Canada. So now I'd like to show you an interesting slide. And so here you can see what might happen to every immigrant in Canada. And again, like it's just an approximate scenario. The numbers are not exactly not the same, but it will give you an idea. And again, like we have helped to so many people. So like we could hear their stories, and basically we know what is happening with the job market when it comes to immigrants. So let's say if you decide like not to go back to school or not like returning to your new profession, then like you decide to save money, and then eventually like, you think like you will go back to school or you will return to your new profession. So you can have it like for 10 years, and trust me, I met immigrants like that who just they couldn't go back to school, they couldn't return to their profession because like, they were busy, like they had kids on the way and things like that. So of course it's very hard to find a job. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I always tell, like, I'm a huge believer that when you have Canadian credential on your resume, it's like that cherry on top of the cake. And same if you have like a Canadian experience, like, right, it's the same idea here. But you can see also what might happen if in the first 2 years you actually get back to your career or you get your credentials back, or like you start like again a new career. So automatically like you can land a better job and you can make more money. But like see like from it depends like from where you're coming from, because again I know like post-USSR countries, the culture of loan never was so big. Same I know with Nigeria, so and people always were trying like, okay, how we can survive without that. Sorry, I'm working from home. I have two cats. It's an automatic feeder. But like when you like have that mentality, I always encourage people like to think about this approximate scenario. If you can make it without any loan, that's great. If you can get a Canadian credential, or if you can return to your profession, this is awesome. But let's say if you cannot do that and you are struggling financially, then maybe it would be the best to have a career plan and know what might take you like in order to have this plan, to see this plan happening in real life. And so please think about that, and always like have in mind that you need to have a career plan, and you need to be like kind of job ready as well. Like you need to understand where you want to be in Canada in 3 years or so. So here, you can see just great stuff about Windmill. So if you Google us, we have like 5 solid stars from almost every client. Our clients increase their income more than 3 times. And of course, it happens in some understandable way. Like we are all coming to Canada. We feel sad, like, because it's very hard to get our first job. But as I always tell, like, never look at your first job like, oh, like back at home I was done this and that. You have to understand in Canada nobody knows you, so it will take you some time to build your kind of reputation, to build your network. So look with a positive thought. You got this entry level job, but then if you're smart enough, like it won't take you long in the job, and eventually you will increase your income, because it happened in my way. It happened with so many of my friends as well. Also here you can see that we have a repayment rate of 95%. So it means like even we don't ask for many things, still our clients are successful and they have been paying us back, or they have paid us back. Also, we have a net promoter score of 95. For those who are not familiar what it means, it means that our clients, they are happy to recommend us to their friends and family. So just a couple of slides left, and then as I promised, I'd like to have the Q&A part longer. So I'd like to tell you who is eligible for our loan and who is not. So of course, like you might guess that you need to have a permanent status in Canada. So of course, with the PR card, it's easy, it's pretty straightforward. With provincial nominee, what do I mean here? I mean those who are now, for example, on a work permit. So if you are on a work permit right now, you're not eligible for our loan. But as soon as you get your Manitoba provincial nominee approved, or any province program approved, then you become eligible for our loan. And don't worry, even if you're not eligible now, I have been with Windmill almost for 4 years, and I have some people like they would message me, hey, I attended your presentation 2 years ago, but now I'm a permanent resident, and I'm ready to go back to school, and I'm eligible for your loan now. So please keep in mind that, again, if you're not eligible now, the situation might change quite rapidly for you. So Canadian citizens, they're eligible for our loan, but I mean those who are like me, I'm a Canadian citizen, but I am an immigrant. Also, conviction refugee or protected person, like same idea. If you're waiting for a decision or on your status, you're not eligible. As soon as you have the decision letter, I think it's called, you become eligible for our loan. And of course, we ask you to be in Canada when you apply for a loan, and also we ask you to have at least 1 year of post-secondary education outside of Canada. If you don't have it, that's fine. We can take into consideration at least 1 year of your work experience, which is shown on your resume. But both of the requirements, we are looking into your skills and your experience outside of Canada, not inside of Canada. So how you can apply for our loan? So of course, like you can apply like if you go to our website, but I would encourage you to apply using this specific link, and I'll share this link with Vasil as well. He will share it with you in the follow-up email, and I'll share it in the chat box in the few minutes. But like, why I'm asking you to use this link, because like when settlement agencies, they work together, it's very important for us to know how we are doing, if the collaboration between two agencies like work. And then, for example, if you use this link, it will bring you to our website, same idea, but then I'll see the number of clicks to this link, and then I can tell myself, hey, for the last year, we have gotten like 25 clicks to this link. So 25 people from your agencies, they were interested in our program. So, and basically that's it. So that's the official part of my presentation. I always tell, if you have some questions, you can send us an email to the info@team.windmill.org, and you can connect with us on social media as well. And I do encourage you to connect with us, because we always post like a lot of like useful tips, and like we partner with different organizations, we have different webinars. That's how you will stay up to date on some new from Windmill. So I'll stop sharing my screen as soon as okay, it's here, and then I'll see if we have some questions, and maybe I'll give you a few more seconds to figure out your thoughts. And please, don't be shy. And I don't know if you can turn on your camera. No, probably not, because we're in the webinar mode. But again, you can send your questions in. I believe it through the Q&A box there, but Vasil might guide you better than me.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for the
Yeah.
informative presentation. Now we will open it up to the audience. Do we have any questions? Once again, please type your questions in a question panel box or raise your hand and we will unmute you so you can ask your question directly and talk to Lydia. We will try to get through as many questions as we can.
And I'll try to send a link into the
Yeah,
chat box. Yeah.
if you can, because I tried to retype
Oh,
it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't like there's no link. There's like if you can just share it
I
in the
see.
chat box while we are
Okay,
waiting for the
so
questions. Okay.
yeah, I'm wondering if this
Oh
one,
yeah,
yeah,
this
it
one's
seems
work.
like
Yeah,
it should work. Yeah,
this
awesome.
one's great. Awesome. All right.
Great.
Yep.
So let me also share some other resources for you as well. And as I said, if you have some questions, please let me know. And I'll share the same links with you in the follow-up email. And I really want to encourage you to stay positive, right? Because I always tell like and even my channel, so it's called Eyes to Nice. So and sometimes when people ask, why did you call it Eyes to Nice? And I'm like, because like it's not even about the weather, it's about the mindset that when we come to Canada, like especially those who have a lot of high expectations, they come here and they think, oh, like everybody is waiting for me here. And then they start applying for a lot of jobs, and then they see that the situation is not how they were expecting. But then like with some work, and as I said, with registering with Manitoba Start, with obtaining a lot of information, you can still like get to where actually you wanted to be in the first place. So please stay positive. And I see
Yeah.
that somebody asked how long is your process. And so our process actually quite fast. So it's much faster than Manitoba student loan. Let's say if you have been in Canada for a while and your credit score is high, like enough, then you can skip a meeting with a client success coach. Because when you skip a meeting with the client success coach, it speeds up the process like very much, and you can be approved as little as 5 business days. Because like if you don't have Canadian credit history, and let's say if your credit score is not the greatest one, again, like we don't have a specific cutoff, and we never can say it like in public, right? Because we look at many factors on your applications. So like in this case, we want you to meet with a client success coach because we want to understand like your story. We want to see that you understand it's a loan, it's not a grant that you will have to pay us back. What might happen if you don't have to pay us back? And in this case, again, because some scheduling will be involved, it might take like 15 days or maximum like 20 days, but usually on average, I would say 15 days. But yes, so in comparison with every student loan, it's quite fast.
Thank you, Lydia.
Yeah.
So there's another question in terms of if we can pay it back.
Mhm.
Can I get an extension then?
Like like none of our organizations in Canada, they will tell you yes, for sure, like, you will get an extension, right? But I always encourage our clients and even potential new clients, if you cannot pay it back, if you are struggling to find a job, so your grace period is over, never ghost on us, right? So give us a call, and then we can see what we can do exactly in your case. So again, like it's not a guarantee that we will change a lot of things, but we will try to do our best to help you out with your particular situation, I would say.
Thank you. We have one question in the Q&A panel, so I
Mhm,
encourage everybody to use either the chat or the Q&A, whatever you
mhm,
like, or raise your hand. If you can raise your hand, I'll unmute you, and then
mhm.
you can ask your question directly. So we have a question in the Q&A panel. Working toward MPNP, have some credit card debts around 12K combined that was used toward flight training in Canada. Once MPNP is approved, would it be possible to get a loan so as to pay the credit card off and
Mhm.
consolidate?
So it's an interesting question. Actually, we do have like we call it like 6 months period. So, for example, let's say if you are registered with a college or some learning institution already, if you're going through your exams and you've paid like for your exam, so and you put it on your credit card with 20% of the interest rate, you have 6 months to reply with us, and then like we can give you a loan and you can cover your credit card. But like all of the expenses on your credit card, they should be related to your education, right? And so if it just like flights, if it just like something else, then we won't be able to help. But only if you've paid already for your school, you have the evidence that you've paid for your school, then we can help you. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, very clear.
Mhm.
Do we have any other questions, folks?
And meanwhile, I wanted to let you know, so I've shared another link with you in the chat box, and I would encourage you to like watch it and understand how the job market works in Canada, because I know just like again, it's all about the mindset. Like you need to have a career plan, and you need to understand that like how you can help yourself like in order to land the best job for yourself. And of course, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you have heard about you have to network, you have to volunteer. But I always tell like it doesn't work for everybody, right? And that's why it's very important for you to know yourself and to know what works for you. For example, the funniest thing, now I'm doing networking for a living. It's basically my work. I present, I meet people, like even with my passion project. All YouTube, it's all I do. I do a lot of networking. But when I came to Canada and I was a student here, and I was told, oh, you have to network, and I was like, oh my god, no, it's not my thing. I don't want to go to an event, and I don't want to go and just like be there and ask, hey, are you hiring, like, do you have a job, right? And only through the years I learned that networking is not about that. That networking is not about asking for a job. Networking is more about building your network, building your connections. And actually, just recently, so like I had a very interesting talk, a lady, she's my friend, and she's a talented teacher, and she teaches now at Bow Valley College. So if you can imagine, so like she came like 11 years ago to Canada. She was a student at Bow Valley College. She had an accent. Her English was not the greatest one, but now she's a teacher at the same college, and she has a lot of like great points on networking and volunteering and how you can land a job in Canada. And I've just shared a link with you. And again, I'll send you a follow up with everything. So like if you don't like networking, or if you feel like it does not work for you, you can try volunteering, because like volunteering it's also networking. Because I don't know what you guys have in Winnipeg, but you can be a volunteer for helping like homeless people, right? And then let's say like you might work with somebody there who might be a CEO of a company if in the future you want to work for. So that's how you build your network. You don't ask straight away, are you hiring or something like that? Because just recently I was at the playground with my daughter, and I met a person, and he was from India. And I just recently I traveled to India just like literally in February. And I asked him, I said, hey, like, are you brand new to Canada? He said, yes, like, it's just 2 months I came, right? And then I started saying, well, I work for a government and funded organization. And also, like, I'm helping immigrants to achieve their career success in Canada. And straight away, he asked me, are you hiring? And then I smiled and I told him, like you need to understand, like, things don't work this way in Canada. And if you do your networking by asking, are you hiring? I have to disappoint you. It might never work for you. So because networking, it's about different things. And they said, please like explore, know who you are, and explore different options. So I see here a different question in the chat box. Can having a credit card outstanding block our eligibility for the loan? Like, it's a great question. See, like, I don't work directly with clients, so I work with our partners. For example, I work with Vasil, but let's say if you decide to apply for a loan, and again, I'm asking you, please use the link which was created for Manitoba Start. In this case, like, you need to apply, and then like they will guide you, because they will see your story, right? And they can tell you what works, what doesn't work. Outstanding block, I even like see, I'm not in the finance, so I'm not sure know what it means, but maybe like I guess you're referring to an outstanding balance. I think it shouldn't be a problem, because a lot of people, like, they have an outstanding balance, right? But like it depends, I guess, on how like big your outstanding balance. And again, like you should know, when you have been in Canada for some time and you have your Canadian creative history, as soon as some organizations they pull it out, they can see everything, right? Like they can see how much you're standing balance. But and sometimes it can be a lot. For example, I can buy like I don't know, like a TV tomorrow, right? And maybe the most expensive one like for 10,000. And then yes, somebody who pulls my credit, they will see that my outstanding balance is more than 10,000. But then like who knows? And if I pay it back like in the end of my non-interest period, right? And if I do that, and also how my behavior was in the past, like that organization will see. So they wouldn't be scared of your outstanding balance, but they might raise some concerns like when it comes to your history, like how usually fast you pay your credit card. I hope I explained it again. I'm not a person who works for a financial team, but I think it's how it works in Canada.
Thank you, Lydia. And we have another one. If I'm interested, what is the next step?
So if you are interested, like what would be the next step? Again, please just use the link I've shared in the chat box here, the very first one. Also, you can wait for a follow-up email. So I'll send it today with all of the links. And then when you start your application, it's pretty straightforward. And I was told it shouldn't take you more than 20 or 30 minutes. And the good thing about Windmill, you can start your application. And at any point, if you feel like it's not for you, you can withdraw because we don't have like anything like there in terms of like to charge you, right? So like you can go through the process and you can see if you like it, if you like us, if you like working with us, then of course. So like you can proceed, but if not, like you can withdraw your application.
Thank you, Lydia.
Mhm.
We have one person who raised a hand, so I'll
Mhm.
unmute the person. Just give me one moment, please, Chikara. Just a second, please. All right, you are unmuted. You can try and talk.
Hi,
Hello.
Chikara.
Hello, Lydia. Thank you
Hi.
for having us. I'm internationally trained dentist from Nigeria.
Well,
Interested in this opportunity, but I
mhm.
also want to manage my risk. So my question goes thus, is it possible to, in the process of receiving some credential evaluation, like there are a lot of costs along the way, but they're staggered. They're not all
Mhm.
at the same time. Is it
Mhm.
possible to collect credit um, in phases and clear them up? Like if I have a credential assessment of like say $500, is it possible to apply for the 500 and have it cleared off in line with what's applicable, or how
Mhm.
does it work? Or do I have
Yeah.
to lump my whole journey, my whole study plan or credential certification plan into the whole request, or can I take it in installments or in milestones?
Mhm. This is a very great question, but first of all, I'm so happy for you that you are returning to your profession. Like I always encourage people, if you're a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer back home, an engineer, like try to do your best to return to your profession. And actually, Windmill has had a lot of dentists, but mostly from India, not so many from Nigeria. From Nigeria, we have a lot of lawyers, especially in Calgary, and doctors. But you are on the right pathway and you are asking like the right questions as well. So with dentist, you will need more than 15,000, and probably you know this by now. And actually, if you check our website, we have a partnership with CABC for dentists. So where you can have actually a little bit more than 15,000, and then eventually, but I mean you need to go through that program, but again, when you start applying, then you will see that option as well. And installments are possible, and we do recommend installments because when you take your loan in installments, then of course the interest rate it applies just to smaller parts, right? So for example, if you know that in the end of the day you will need like 15,000, but you don't need them right now, then of course you can first take a smaller amount. By smaller amount, I don't mean $500 because we have a minimum amount which is 2,000. So like you need to figure out, and probably when you apply like our client support specialist team, they will help you with this. But the minimum amount has to be like 2,000. So let's say if you pay 500 for your evaluation of your diploma, then you can add maybe some registration for some classes, for some exams, maybe tuition fees or books. But again, you know your process better, and then like when you apply, you will be told like what would be the best for you. Plus we have worked with so many dentists, so our client specialists, they are professional, they know what to do with dentists, so they will help you on the way.
Thank you, Lydia. And we have a few more minutes, but if there are there any more questions? If we are good with that, Lydia, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you to all the participants for your excellent questions. Now you can see on your screen our website. If you are not currently a Manitoba Start client, you can call us by this number or visit us in person or pre-register for our services online. So you can click here, register for the services. And by registering with Manitoba Start, you will connect with settlement services and have access to career services that can assist you with resume development, career planning, and job search strategies, interview preparation, networking, everything that Lydia has mentioned as well. So for a list of programs, you can go to the career services tab, and you can see all the services that are available. I also encourage you to go to our events page and see what events we have prepared for you on a monthly basis. So yeah, don't forget that Manitoba Start is here to help you by providing services such as personalized career coaching, developing your resumes, and job search strategies. You can follow us on social media. We are active on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and yeah, so on behalf of Lydia from Windmill Microlending and Manitoba Start team, thank you all for attending, and stay well. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Vasil. Good luck, everybody.